Thank you, Madam Chair, members. I'm under no obligation to be respectful to any of you. I'm under no obligation to be kind to you. I'm under no obligation to be friendly towards you. I choose to do those things, and by walking in here, I choose to give up a certain portion of my freedoms and liberties in order to abide by decorum so that we can process the work of the legislature in a timely and efficient manner. But when we walk outside to the real world, we choose to be kind to one another or not to be kind to one another. It is not compelled from us. And as I've tried to say on this floor for the last going on 7 years, students do not give up their fundamental constitutional liberties simply by being customers and being part of the state's education system. In fact, it's the opposite. I chose to come in here. Students are the vast majority of the time forced by law to be in these schools. And we can't tell or force, schools can't tell or force us how to relate to one another. I understand the worries and the objections of my friends up front, but that's part of what school is. Nobody's under any obligation to be kind to me in school, and I'll tell you right now, I'll put my past up with bullying against most of the members here in this room. But outside of the physical altercations that I was a part of when I was younger, those same people who really, really did not like me were under no obligation to like me. They were just under an obligation to not take it past the point of not liking me. And what I worry about with these kind of scenarios in schools isn't the bullying angle, it's the individual. Schools have decent-sized populations in most cases. And in a lot of times, you'll have students that will never meet the majority of the rest of the population at their school. They never have any interaction with them. They're neither friends nor enemies. They're neither acquaintances, or they just don't even know each other. And then there are times when that student, who doesn't even know another student, might be put in a place where a teacher or an administration is compelling speech from that child. Not something that's bullying, not something where there's any kind of altercation involved at all, just two students that have a disagreement about how they relate to the world or relate to each other. That's not something that is a flagrant violation of these kids' First Amendment rights. And sure, we talk about, well, they got tripped in the hallway. Well, last time I checked, that's not me having an opinion on you. If I trip you in these hallways, you can be pretty well assured that I have a specific purpose in mind, and that is to cause you physical discomfort. That is different than you choosing not to refer to me by my name, or me choosing not to refer to you by your name, or me choosing not to associate with you, or you choosing not to associate with me. It cannot be the case that whether it's a school administration, whether it's a government, local government or a state government, that we are compelling children to be kind to one another. That's not how kindness works. Kindness begets kindness. Force does not beget kindness, and certainly I don't think the American journey or story would reflect that when one puts their finger in the chest of another individual and says comply or else. The end result is good and great for everybody. I think that tale of the tape would tell the exact opposite. I was raised to be respectful of everybody around me, regardless of whether they agree with me, just until they give me a very good reason to no longer be respectful of them. I think that's a pretty Montana value, and I think that I at least do a somewhat okay job of living that way here in the legislature, with exceptions every so often. But that is my choice. That's my choice. I am not being compelled to do that, other than the extent that I have volunteered and agreed to be compelled while we are on this floor or while we are in committee to remain within decorum so that we can process our work. Outside of that, that's my choice. And sure, I think that every kid should choose that. But it is not the place of school officials to force that. It is not the place of local governments or state governments to enforce that. And I guarantee you, the more you try to do that, the more the exact opposite will happen. People should be respectful of one another. Everybody has the right to defend themselves at all times, and I'm pretty sure the bullying is still illegal, and I'm pretty sure the bullying, the vast majority of the time, again, speaking from an awful lot of experience, is multifaceted, and far more multifaceted than it's being given credit for here on this floor. So freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I hope everybody's kind to one another, but I, for not 1 second, recognize the right of anybody in here, much less anybody who at my school, to compel me to do that. That's my choice, and I intend for it to remain such, and I will be a green voter.